check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, you love me and I love you. Putting on for my people, the love for heroes, building community. Can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now? 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 Hear me now.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Gone Mad Presents. Can you hear me now? I am your host, Lady Madelyn Patterson, my beautiful co-host here, Miss Vicki Merriwether. And today, I am so excited to have on our panel with us Miss Mary Alice Clark, who is a unicorn born and raised here in Austin, Texas. And we're going to talk a little bit about the St. John Orphanage, some things that have happened in her life and transpired. And welcome, Mama Clark.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm so glad to have you here. So we're going to just jump right into it. So, we're in Austin, Texas, and when I was visiting you the other day, we were talking about some of the things at St. John, and you happened to mention that you lived in that orphanage at St. John.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, I need to know more. So St. John had an orphanage, and tell us about your experiences. Like, why were y'all in the orphanage? Like, tell us about how that came to be.
Okay. I wasn't an orphan, but my grandfather was caretaker of the land. He farmed the land for St. John, and they raised corn and sweet cane. And they made harmony out of the cane and molasses out of the. They made harmony out of the corn, and out of the sweet cane they made molasses down in the bottom of the building, in the basement area. But that's why we were living there. My grandfather was caretaker, and so on one end of the building was my grandfather, and that was my dad's parents. The other end were the Berries, which were my mother's grandparents.
Really?
So we had that first floor. So that's why we were living there, was because Daddy was maintaining the fields and farming the land.
And talk about what was the era during what year about was that?
That was in the 40s. Because 1940 was when I was born. So that's when I went there to live with my grandparents and lived there until 45. And that's when we moved out of there. Now, prior to my birth, they had been there, I don't remember how many years.
Oh, wow.
Because I had other cousins older than me that grew up there.
In the orphanage?
The orphanage had closed down.
Okay.
It was just the building sitting there then. And I don't remember what year the orphanage closed, but after it closed, the orphanage closed, and my grandfather became the caretaker of property. And I don't know why my mother's grandparents were there, but they were there.
Wow. So tell me, what was it like just being in that space?
Well, when you don't know anything else, it was just really good. I was only there from until I was age 5, going on 6. They also had watermelons because my cousin, he was 4 years older than me, and the other cousins down on the other end, they were older than me, would go into the fields and steal the watermelons and bust them open. And we'd eat watermelons, and that was a lot of fun. Then you had to dig a hole to bury the rind so that...
Oh, to hide the evidence.
That's cute.
So it was a lot of fun. They also had, they raised pigs. They had a big pen down at one end with a lot of pigs, and we had donkeys. I don't know what their purpose were, but my cousins, they rode them, and I attempted to ride.
A donkey?
A donkey.
How was it?
Some of them, though, were really gentle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they would put me on one that hardly moved.
Okay.
Because some of them, they were stubborn. You couldn't make them move if they didn't want to move.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Now, was this on the property where, like, it's 7501 Blessing and that?
No, this was where Highland Mall is. That's where the
Really?
orphanage was, over there where Highland Mall is.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
St. John's owned all that property.
Yeah, they owned all that. They lost it due to taxes. The Austin government, I guess it was, decided they wanted that property. So to get us off of it, they said it wasn't used for religious purposes, so they were going to tax it.
Wow.
Well, where were we going to get all that money from to pay the taxes?
Right.
So they got a lawyer, I don't remember his name, from Houston, I think he was. And they fought him, but eventually they won. And I don't know how much money they gave St. John for it, and then they gave us the property on Blessing.
Oh, that's how we got to Blessing Avenue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that is really
But
interesting.
I remember that my grandfather, the first time I'd ever seen him cry, he was in his 70s, I guess it was. They had this meeting. They had a lot of meetings, but this last one was downtown on 8th Street in the big, it was a federal building, I believe it was. Courthouse is what it was. And they had this meeting, and when he came home, he just sat down and just bawled. Said, we lost St. John.
Oh, wow.
So I was very young, so I don't remember all of the particulars, but I remember seeing Daddy cry, and that was something.
That was
I bet it
something.
was.
Yeah, because he was a big, strong man, and he was very opinionated. After we moved to St. John, Emma Long was on the city council at that time. He had a conversation with her every day.
Oh, wow.
He called, then you could call him direct or whatever. He talked to Emma Long every day, giving his opinion about what should be done, shouldn't be done, and da-da-da. So he wasn't a timid person. You couldn't walk over him. And so to see him cry like that was just heartbreaking. Scary, too.
Yeah, I bet.
Because, you know, why was he crying? I remember the words he said, but I didn't have enough maturity to understand what was really going on.
And I think I look at it now, although that event occurred, St. John is still thriving today. Maybe a little differently, but I just believe that we've got this resilience in the people.
Yeah, you go by the scripture. I can't quote it exactly, but it tells you if it's of God,
Amen.
it's going to last.
Yes.
Yeah,
If it's of man, it'll fall.
that's right.
But it was God put that together.
Yeah.
With those 4 men was it that
Right.
formed the
That formed the
association? They
association.
divided up Texas, and
Yeah, they did.
yeah. So this was an act of God, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So they can't kill it.
Yeah.
They may stop it for a while, stun it for a while, but they can't kill it.
You know, I think it makes me think too of now, because back in that time frame, because the orphanage, it was a school out there too. Wasn't
Yes, it was a school. They had boys and girls.
And so you think of who they served, but the churches supported that. So it shows us or demonstrates the power of the churches when they come together.
Yes.
That was the whole purpose. Yes.
And that's why I think this is really an opportunity to get back and understand our history. You know, if you don't know your history, you're destined to either repeat it or fail it. But there's a way to understand. It goes back when you were saying if it's of God.
Yes.
And we really do believe that it is.
Oh, absolutely.
And so if my people who are called by my name humble themselves
and pray
and seek my face
They got to turn.
and then turn from their wicked
Yeah.
ways, yeah.
then will I hear from heaven and heal the land. And I think this is an opportune time for the believers to say, wait a minute. we know who we are connected to.
Yes.
Yeah, we fell. May have started with maybe the generation before me, my parents, because my grandparents raised me, and we had we had at home Bible
Yes.
study often, and then we had prayer every day, morning and night,
Yeah.
and we were taught who God is. And taught our responsibilities as being children of God. I mean, that was taught us
At home.
At
at
home.
home. At home.
And then
So,
reinforced.
yeah, then reinforced, and no such thing that you're not going to church.
That's crazy to me.
You can't do that.
It's because we grew up like that.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, we grew up like that.
Mm-hmm.
It
Got
wasn't no
drugs and
such thing. The only way you got to stay at home was if you were sick.
And you better have a
You
fever.
had to be very
You
sick.
had to be very
Very
sick. But other than that, you went to church.
Mm-hmm.
If you were living and it wasn't about an age thing. If you were living in the house, you had to go to church, not just on Sunday.
Yep.
It was Sunday school and whatever else that needed to be attended during the week, right? Now people get choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there isn't a choice.
No.
We just allow our kids to dictate to us. Well, not me, but
Yeah, me either.
But the parents of today, in my opinion, they allow their children to dictate to them what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Now, I know they passed these laws about corporal punishment and all that being, we couldn't spank your child and all this kind of stuff. It's a difference in spanking and beating.
Absolutely.
And I truly believe the Bible. And the Bible would not have told us not to spare the rod
That's
if
right.
it wasn't some validity to
That's
it.
right.
So,
Absolutely.
you have to decide who you're going to trust, who you're going to follow, man or God. And it's not easy to follow God all the time, but it's very important that we do.
Well, we've gotten away from church and family as much and we teach a lot of individualism. This, striving to make it on your own, to be your own boss. And I'm not saying that's not a bad thing to a certain degree, but what they miss out on is the corporate family and the church community, because that's how we thrived. The churches, back in the day, people would get together that's how we ate. That's how we kept close. That's how we survived.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we go back to history, like you said, we'll recognize if you want to survive, these are the things that you need to put back in place.
And the thing I love when you were talking about the history of St. John, those 4 men saw a need.
Mm-hmm.
And God allowed them to create this community. And it's 2025, and if we're not careful, to your point, we're all in our own isolated little islands and not realize we're more connected to each other. And I believe that's probably by design.
Yeah, I believe. It's strength in numbers.
Yeah, and so it's taking the wool off of our lives and go, wait a minute, let me not listen to the noise. And I think that's why we try to do some of these shows too, is to bring awareness, education, information, because the more that you know, prayerfully, the better you will be able to make your decisions going forward, because you're informed.
Well, that, to your point about individualism, that it's a tool of Satan, because the Bible tells us to divided we fall.
Mm-hmm.
There's strength in numbers. So it got to a point, I don't know if used to, when a person was called into the ministry, they were under their pastor. Their pastor guided their growth in the ministry. They couldn't go out and just preach on their own. Somebody called you to come and preach. You had to go through the pastor of that individual and see if he was ready.
Mm-hmm.
And get that pastor's permission. And the pastor taught my grandfather, I know, he would bring, there was one minister that didn't read. So he would come to our house it seemed like every evening, may not have been that, but it seemed like, and Daddy would read the Bible to him because he couldn't read, and he would learn by hearing. And finally he let him preach, but he never let him go out to other churches because he wasn't that prepared, you know. But Daddy didn't try to stifle him, you know, and say, no, you're not a preacher, whatever. He taught him the best he could. And under his guidance, he allowed him to preach at home.
Yeah.
But he didn't go out preaching for other people.
You know, my husband says this often, that back in the day, you sat under somebody, and you were receiving and learning and growing, studying to show yourself approved before you went out. And it wasn't that the pastor was trying to hold you back or pull you, but there's a time and a place, right? And you're growing. And nowadays, people just turn on a camera and
do their own thing.
Yeah, and they get away from. That's one of the things that hurt St. John's, in my opinion. A lot of these preachers did not want to come together as a group. I got my own church to take care of financially and whatever. And so they didn't support St. John like they should have supported, or that they could have supported it. And that's one of the things that hurt us as an association.
It is.
yeah,
And still doing so. And you know, I'm giving you my opinion, my observation. It's, as these younger preachers came up, they wanted to do their own thing, their own way, and they didn't understand that the moderator was not going to come into your church and tell you how to direct your church. But if you were a part of the association business, he could tell you and would tell you if you were out of line, and advise you on how you should do. But a lot of them thought that the moderator was going to come in and try to run their church, and that's not the way it was.
it's not. And if you look even in the New Testament, that was the charge of, you know, Paul was going around, Timothy, they were going around educating, bringing people, creating disciples, creating churches, and providing that information.
Right.
Teaching.
And right now, it's like, I love technology, I appreciate technology, I appreciate the advancements, but somehow it's making us a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
Well, on that point, because thankfully, my father did that. Because I remember him talking about the people that, especially his dad, but he had several other pastors that mentored him. And I think from my standpoint, of course, you know, he was one of the,
Yes.
he was a great leader.
Yes, I
But
agree.
even in other things, when we look at it, mentorship is huge.
Absolutely.
And it makes no sense for us not to listen to the elders. Now, I'm getting there. I guess I'm an elder now.
The seasoned.
Yeah, well.
You said it, Vicki.
All
You
right
said
now.
it.
I'm acknowledging it. But there are people over me, like, that have more history and understanding of what's come before me. And that's how we end up losing who we are, is that we don't listen to the elders.
Yes.
And it makes a huge difference and an impact on how we grow through this world and how we're impacted by what's happening.
Yeah. And that's the reason, that is another reason why it is so, for me, important to sit down with elders and hear out of the mouth your life experiences. Too many times we think, oh, my life doesn't, anything of what I know doesn't matter. No,
It means a lot.
it
Yeah, it
does.
does.
And passing that down generation to generation keeps us alive. Those memories alive.
Yeah. Well, in Deuteronomy, it tells you, teach your children. Teach them these things. And so we're falling away from that. We're not teaching our children. We give them these telephones. We have the TV. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with technology.
Right.
It's the way you use it.
Yeah.
You need to not let that be their focus, just constantly sitting in front of a television or whatever. They need to go outside and play. These kids don't even know how to play
By themselves.
By
by themselves. Yeah.
Or either or with
Or even with others.
No.
they,
Because-
Not in person. They'll be
No.
sitting there going, I don't know what to talk about.
I'm bored.
I'm bored. Well,
It's really, really.
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
It really. So I want to take us back memory lane. So, as a kid, what were some of the games
Oh my gosh.
that you remember
Oh Lord.
playing? I can say one of my favorite ones was It. You're It.
Oh yeah, okay. I had to remember what that was. Yeah.
You go back and go.
Red light, green
Red
light,
light,
stop.
green light.
We played hopscotch. We played hide and go seek. That was a favorite one for some reason. Because it was, you hide out what
Yeah.
you'd be the last one somebody found, whatever. And it was another one. Simon Said. And
Yeah, I remember Simon Says.
there was another one though, I can't think of it. Jump rope. We love the
course,
jump
yeah.
rope.
See, a lot of those games we played outside.
Yeah.
Like we were,
Yeah.
And you were outside until the
sun-
light
Yeah.
post came on.
on.
Oh, y'all had that too, light post.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better
be
not
inside.
come, don't come into us until such time.
But marbles.
Oh my gosh,
marbles was
marble!
really
I
great.
loved
And
marbles
pick up sticks.
and jacks.
Yeah, jacks and
Do they even
pick up
make jacks
sticks.
anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They
Yeah.
do.
And the bolo bat.
Wait, what?
That thing,
Oh,
you know,
that little paddle ball thingy.
did all that.
Man,
You know when we played it?
where?
Outside the church. When my mother, when my mother and dad were at church, a lot of times we'd be outside playing, doing hopscotch, jacks. Not so much hide and go seek, but red light, green lights. We were outside in the parking lot
On
playing
at the same time.
at
Wow.
Mount Zion because
At
at that
Mount
time, and at St. John's.
St.
But during the
John's.
association time, at the association meeting, it was different because they had all these stands and it was almost like had carnival time for us.
Really?
Yeah, it
So
was.
they said an association. Now, early association, they had buggies, buggies and horses. People
Yeah.
came from all over
Right.
and would stay on the property.
Right. In tents. My grandmother did that.
Really?
And she had, because my grandfather, he wanted his meals like he was at home.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
So she had this thing where you put coal in, and she had cook fried chicken and do all that kind of stuff on this furnace. That's what they called it.
Okay.
And what-
that's
a furnace,
A
yeah.
furnace, and that's what you used also when you want flat iron. You put your irons in that. But my grandmother had to camp out every year, and her purpose was to keep my grandfather fed. With all his meals, all three of them. And it was so fun. And it was even more fun back then because they had, I don't know how many stands. And they weren't in buildings, the ones over here. Well, in the indoors but these were just these put together stands. I don't know how to
Is it
describe
kind of
them.
like
Just made up.
like a tent? Not like
They
a
weren't even
tent, but
tents. They were,
Wooden stands. Or,
yeah, wooden stands.
It was temporary stuff. It was
Uh-huh,
like
it was
they would come
temporary.
in for the time frame and
for
do
that
all
week,
Yeah.
and then put up the little
Put up,
stands.
yeah. And
But-
then my grandfather also was the one that they came to purchase their plots for their stands and whatever.
Oh, so it was marked off and kind of plotted
Yeah,
out.
it was plotted out.
And I could rent this space and nice. And that's where the families.
But you made your own
Structure.
strength.
So it's kinda like
you
a
built it
campground,
yourself.
almost
You
like
just
a
had
campsite.
Exactly, but see, that's what it used to be called, a campground. I think if I can remember right now that she's bringing it up,
Yeah,
it was St. John's
the
Campground.
Yeah.
Really?
And they would have this string there to plot it out, but then you had to build your own stand. All the word that comes to my mind. And
And so people slept out
neat.
there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you lived out there the whole week.
But was it a week or
It was.
was it longer? At one point I thought it was longer, but anyway, yeah.
You're right. It was. It was longer. It was longer.
So
So-
it was
And it was
Was this-
dusty and
Wait, so what Wait, that was you didn't sleep out there too, did you?
Yeah, my grandparents were out there. I had to sleep out there.
Oh, I was thinking this is from the 1800s. This is the 1900s.
Yeah.
Right back behind the orphanage home, back off in that area was where the association, the tabernacle was.
Okay.
And it was dusty. But you paid by car. I don't know, a car, and then each person I think paid a nickel or a dime or something.
Like the
That was
drive-in.
in the car. The car you paid a certain amount, and then whoever was in the car paid. I think it was a nickel. I think.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was neat to go in, and then they gave you this identification tag. I can't remember what it was, how it looked, but it was a pass-like thing that you had to show that you had paid to get in there. Because they take you out if you
Wait,
didn't.
what?
Yeah, they take you out if you didn't pay your fee to get in there. It wasn't very much, maybe a quarter or something. Forgotten how much it was.
And the people, so they brought their horse? Like, what? No.
Well, my time it was cars.
It was cars, okay.
Yeah, it was cars in my time, and they just drove in there, and they had an area to park the cars and stuff. And then they had this big tabernacle. They had the soda water boxes to sit. They made benches out of.
And that's under the tent.
Under the
where they
tabernacle.
have-
Yeah, it was just it was a roof.
Oh.
But it was open on the sides.
Oh, okay. Was it a closed-in building
No,
yet?
it wasn't
Okay.
a closed-in building. It just had a roof.
So, wait, what about the music? Instruments?
Girl, old school. Real old school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that just sounded amazing.
No.
Like you could just hear it all across.
Yeah, it probably
area.
did, but I was running around with the other kids trying to get some free red water. And no one has that recipe.
Wait, red
Really?
water? Wait, what's red
I
water?
bet you I know somebody that
Do
does.
you know somebody has that?
I got a feeling I do.
Wait, but what is red water?
We need that.
Wait, but what is it?
It's
It's
a
our
red
version of
drink.
Kool-Aid, but it's
But it's
not
different.
Kool-Aid.
It's not Kool-Aid, though.
No, it's not Kool-Aid.
If y'all are watching this and you watch it on the repeat, let us know what some red water
it's some
is.
good stuff.
Yeah, it
and you
was.
only got it at the association.
You only time.
Really?
It's the only time.
Oh, I got to find me some red water.
Now, it's strange, I'll tell you, because coming up, when they got the buildings out there, there's a family that I know of that lives and work those stands.
Oh, okay.
That had them. And I remember getting red water and putting it over the ice cream.
Yeah, it was good
It was
that
good,
way.
yeah.
See, now I'm feeling left out because by the time I got here, we ain't had no red water.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
that was-
And
that's-
each stand had different
yeah.
things. Some just had drinks, some had watermelon, some had cooked food, and all of them didn't serve just a meal. They just had different.
It almost
varieties of
reminds me,
stuff.
like when I watch some of these movies, like overseas, where you have these vendors have all these like a little market. They
Yeah,
kind of look like a market, like a. Interesting. That's really kind of cool.
yeah,
I
it was
love
neat,
that.
and it was a great time. Great time.
So
Yeah.
I think by the time I got here, St. John, we were in the
Up on Blessing.
on Blessing. But as a kid, we did Highland Lakes Baptist Encampment. We went camping.
Yeah, I remember that.
My dad and Pastor Fontenot, according to we did that for 6 years. We took about almost 500 kids
Yeah.
out off 71 to Highland Lakes Baptist Encampment and spent 3 days and 2 nights.
Wow.
That was an amazing, that was our fun time. I said, we're going camping.
Yeah, well,
Oh my
that's what we
gosh.
were about, the association. Well, we call it the association.
Association. Yeah, that
Association.
We
is.
didn't say association.
We said
the
association.
Association.
No, we didn't say the Asian. We said association.
Oh, association.
Yeah.
Association.
Yeah. Some girl, yeah.
All right, association. We're not going to pick that up on the...
And White Sox ended up being brown.
Oh, because running outside.
Girl, yeah.
Oh,
Played in
it
the
was.
mud.
I'll tell you. Well, even if it wasn't muddy, it was dusty.
Very dusty.
Very dusty over there. Very dusty. But it was some good times.
I'm trying to just imagine being outside in the 40s and 50s with no
Air
air
conditioning?
conditioner, bathroom.
Well, what did they have?
Yeah,
That's what I want
they
to
didn't have
I don't
outhouses, right? I mean,
remember
like, no,
that.
they didn't have those, what are those, porta potties.
Oh no, that wasn't
Girl, they
even
have such
thought
things
of
as
back
that.
then.
So
I
they
don't
didn't
know
build an
what they
outhouse.
did. I
You
don't
know,
even thought about that. I don't know what they did.
I don't either. I can't now because I was born in the '60s, so they had bathrooms in the building. Because I
Yeah.
was at St. John's on
I'm
Blessing.
blessing. Okay.
I'm sure they had something. If they had anything, it was just the old-fashioned toilets where
Like
they
a bucket?
dug.
Although
No,
you,
they dug a hole. They had these little huts, and
what?
and they dug a hole, and you had these wooden seats that you sat on,
Wait.
and then afterwards they covered it up
Wait,
with
okay.
dirt.
They dig a hole in the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you sit
With
on the
it.
ground.
No. They dug a hole in the ground, and they built these little huts.
Like this high, maybe.
No, it was a build. It was, you
was a
walked in there. It
building.
had a door,
Oh.
and then it had a little seat that you sat in that was over the
Oh,
hole.
I know what you're
Oh,
talking
like
about.
an outhouse, kind of like.
Yeah, it
Similar
was
like
an
an
outhouse.
outhouse. Yeah.
Oh.
They
'Cause-
probably had those. That's
Those-
probably
those
what
are
they had.
dope.
Because the reason I say that, because when we moved to South Austin, that's what my grandfather had on the property there
An outhouse.
until the city made him get on the sewage. I'm probably telling too much, but
I love that. That's interesting.
so that's probably what they had out there.
Wow.
Yeah, because
And
my
what
mother's church, did not like going to my mother's church. Because if you went there and my grandparents, my great aunt's house on my maternal side, if you had to go to the bathroom, you were going to the outhouse.
Yeah, that's what.
My husband talked to me, I guess out in Liddick, I guess it's by Elgin, is at his grandma's house.
Yeah, you're going to the
You
outhouse.
had to go to
Yeah,
the-
go to the outhouse.
I would be really nervous because you might find an animal.
Well, you might find spiders and those daddy long leg things.
No,
I
you find
remember
a snake,
those.
right?
I don't remember any snakes
And
or
there was
anything
some in
like
Elgin.
that.
See,
It could have
that's what I'm
been
saying.
some,
I just
but
Go
I
to
don't
sit down and
remember
be
that.
like,
But you know, I don't know about the adults, but as a child, you didn't think about things like
didn't.
that.
Oh, really?
No, you weren't afraid of anything. You didn't think about stuff like that. You just did, you know.
Crazy stuff. This is what I say. I mean, because you really didn't think about it.
No, you
just
really
played
didn't.
and
You
didn't
know,
think about that
that's
kind
what-
of stuff.
wow. St. John.
Yeah, St. John. It was. In fact, I think it was. It probably was the most well-known association in the country. Because when I was working and I would travel around, I remember going to Chicago one time. I don't remember what church it was in New Mexico. Those two places. I remember when I went to church, and they had you stand and tell who you were and where you're from, and I told them. And they just thought, oh, from St. John. You know, they thought that was great. Great St. John. St. John was well thought of
I
all over
love
the
that.
all
And I
over the
think
nation.
And St. John still has that
That
legacy and
reputation,
reputation, which I'm so grateful to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So we talked a little about the orphanage and some of the things that happened in those days. I remember when I got to Austin and I got to Friendly Will. I don't know how we got to a conversation. Maybe it was during Black History Month or something. But you started talking to me about Woolworths and some of the stores and some of the experiences
Oh my gosh.
here in Austin, and it just floored me because by the time I got here, they were busing. So we lived in Oak Hill, which is a prominently white neighborhood, and they got bused to Johnston on the east side. But you were explaining some things about some of the history here, and help me understand the Woolworths experience, because
Well, Woolworth was it was five and dime store. I think that's what they called
Okay.
it, the five and dime store. And they sold just everything you needed, but they had this big counter where they had candy and cookies and all that kind of stuff, peanuts you could buy. And then they had this back against the wall, the south wall, they had the counter where you could sit down and get food and drinks and stuff. Now, blacks, you could buy there, but you couldn't sit down. And you couldn't, there was no place for you to go and order, like you see, order here and that. You went to the very back of the counter, and then you stood there until somebody decided to wait on you. They knew you'd be in there to buy something, but some of those people didn't want to wait on you, so you just had to stand there and wait till somebody recognized you standing there and come over and get you what you wanted to buy.
Wow. And you've experienced that personally yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it was just...
I mean, that's
the way it was.
The way it was. You couldn't buy anything. I mean, you couldn't sit down and eat there.
Right.
But you could buy something, but you couldn't go up there and say, ma'am, or sir, or whatever. You just walked down to the end and you just stood there until they decided to come and wait on you.
Wow.
And but Woolsworth was the main gathering place, I guess. It had a picture taking thing. You go in there and sit down and take pictures and all. Got a picture of Thomas Earl and I when he was a baby.
Really? Oh.
In one of those things. And that's where everybody went, to Woolsworth when you went downtown. That's a 5 and dime, and you'd go to the pharmacy, White's Pharmacy across the street. They also had a counter, but you couldn't sit there. And when desegregation came in, they refused, so they just closed their counter down. They wasn't going to serve blacks at all.
So, that was at 6th Street, and that was at 6th and Congress.
Mm-hmm. And White's was on the southeast side of Congress. Woolsworth was on the northwest, right there on the corner.
So where were our stores? Like, where were the places that blacks?
Well, on 6th Street,
Okay.
East 6th Street going toward I-34, well, it was East Avenue then.
Okay.
There were stores that the Jewish people owned, and mostly in that area, the Jewish people. And I think there was a black beauty shop there. Sister Barnes had a place down there. And
Erling Barnes.
No, Barnes,
Oh,
Barnes. She belongs to Reverend Hendricks Church. And I'm trying to think what other black person was there. I think just the beauty shops and the barber shop.
So were most of our businesses, I guess, on the east
side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, east side of what is now 35. Yeah. And but the black people patronized East 6th Street, that strip. And there was Grove's drugstore we went to. And I can't think of the shoe shop that repaired shoes. Can't think of the name of them. And then Trinity, I think it was, on the corner. There was a barbecue, hot sausage kitchen. That's what it was. Not barbecue, hot sausage kitchen. And you could go in there and buy food, and they put it on this brown paper. And you could sit in there and eat. They let us sit in there and eat. But,
wow.
And then the Ritz movie theater was on 6th Street.
Ritz.
The Ritz.
So is that where? Now, I know where the State and the Paramount is.
No, that's on Congress. This is on East 6th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder where that was.
It was on the left-hand side going east.
East, okay.
On the corner, I forget the name of these streets, but it's right on the corner. And the blacks had to go upstairs. Watch the same movie, but you had to go upstairs, and then the whites and everybody else was down on the bottom.
I can't remember that building.
It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it still has a marquee, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll have to go drive by
It's
there.
on the probably the 4th block off of Congress, the 5th block. But the building is still there.
Okay. I'm going to go back and look
you
at
had
that.
to go in there, and I never thought of it in that days. It's just segregation in my mind. But I've heard people have said, yeah, they had to put us on the top because those white folks would have been throwing stuff down on us if we'd been down on the lower floor. But I don't know. But that was that was such a treat to get to go there. And I never got to see a movie all the way through.
Oh, really?
Because my grandfather, he said that was foolishness. Every now and then he'd give me a dime and I could go. And then after about 30 minutes, if that long, I'd hear, "What, Liz?" He'd walk up the stairs and stand there and holler, yell
Oh,
my
my
name. He
goodness.
called me Liz.
I'm on the list.
And everybody said, "Liz, hurry up and go. Liz, so you shut up."
God. It's amazing.
I knew it was going to, but to go, I endured that because, I
Got a
wanted to
chance
go
to
to
go.
them.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see much of whole movies, but got to go to the movies, go to Ritz.
Wow.
And then later on, the Carver opened up on 6th Street. It was further down on 6th Street on the right. It's the building that the gays have now where they put on their plays.
Oh, the Follies, Esther's Follies.
Esther's Follies. It was in that building.
Okay.
And that was the Carver, and that was for black people.
Wow.
But,
Now, you got a chance to go to the L.C. Anderson.
all right, the old L.C. Anderson.
The original, the real,
Yeah.
the real Anderson High School.
Oh, yeah.
I am so intrigued by anybody that went to school during segregation, because every last person I've ever spoken with, they walk away with this, their expression changes. There was just a community. Your teachers cared about you there, and you got in trouble, but they loved you. There was just this.
Well, all the way up from elementary school on, teachers, they cared about you, and they would get on you and then call your parents, and it followed you home. Oh, yeah. And they were just caring people. And in high school, it just followed all the way through. And it was a community because you started off with people at the first grade, like Sister Bars you were talking about. We started first grade at Blackshear. And you just grew up with them. It was family. It was just family. And it's there today. Even when we have the high school reunions, it's just awesome because even though you weren't in class with people, you knew them by being in school with them all these years. And it's just awesome to see them and talk, it was just a great, I don't know how to explain it, it's just something you have to experience.
Yeah, and because I hear even from the way you dressed, the way you carried yourself, there was a sense of pride.
Well, they taught us, it was a class called Social Graces, and they taught us how to, hygiene and all that kind of stuff. And Miss Cash, she used to own
Yes, Miss Cash,
she
yes.
was my teacher in junior high school. She taught at Keelan, and she was the teacher for that class. And she would have the boys and the girls separately, and they just talked to us about everything, hygiene, sex, religion. She taught us.
Wow.
And and you listened because you knew she was real. She meant what she was trying to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was, I'll never forget her. Oh, I loved her classes.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then we had Miss Connolly. Miss Connolly was germophobic, I guess you'd say. You can go up to her desk, but you couldn't touch it. She had her alcohol, and she'd wipe it down. And she was very strict and all, but it's just certain teachers you just never forget because they made a great impact on you. But when desegregation came in my senior year, no, not senior, just as I was getting into high school, freshman year, 50, whatever it was. And I could have gone to Travis High School or Austin High School, but there was no way I was going to any other school, high school, but Anderson High School. Because I'd been wanting to do that all my life, get to high school.
Yeah.
Anderson, you'd heard about Anderson. And that was, I was bound and determined. That's where I was
That's
going.
where you were going.
Yes, and that's where I went.
I was talking with Mr. Cannon and some other people about their experiences at LC Anderson, and he was there bragging on the sports.
Oh yeah, we were championship
That's
team.
what he was saying.
Oh,
People didn't
yeah,
want
we
to play
beat
y'all.
Houston and San Antonio. Wheatley, I think it was. Was that San? I don't know which one. That was the biggest rival. Was Wheatley's high school. I
Wheatley.
can't remember if they were Houston or San Antonio.
That's Houston, I
Houston.
think.
Okay. Oh yeah, but that was all those games were awesome. You just cheering out there. I didn't get to go real often, but when I did go, it was wonderful.
Really?
And I got to be in the Jackettes.
What?
The
dancers, yes.
I was in it only 1 year because my grandfather found out I was in it. I kept my babysitting money and I bought me some boots and paid the rent for my costume. And I lied to him, which, that I had to stay up late for school for some reason or whatever when we had to practice and all. And I don't remember how he found out. I think probably one of my sisters told on me or whatever. But,
That was before social media and pictures and all of that.
Yeah, it wasn't any of that.
Took him a little while to find out.
Yeah, but he found. But that year, I had a good time in the Jackettes.
Wow.
Oh, I was a jacket. Earl talked about it. Yeah, I didn't have any problem finding you out there on the field. I just looked for the skinniest legs, just like a little stick stuck off in those boots.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was neat. It was awesome. I just wouldn't trade that for anything in the world.
Man. And I think
Awesome.
that's why I went to an HBCU.
When you chose to go to school.
When I chose to go back to school.
Desegregation was a good thing in its place. But some of the things that it took away the community. And the communities were family. And now, you don't know your neighbor. You wave at them maybe or whatever, but it was just family.
It was.
It just was. And that was the biggest loss to me when desegregation came in, was the black community. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I'm thinking about, what are some of the wisdom things that maybe some of your teachers may have deposited that you wish that we could reinforce today? Some things from that maybe you've even experienced of how our community, how we approach each other, how we interact with each other. Some lessons we could have learned from them that we can apply today.
it's really a hard one, I guess, because it's the respect. I don't feel that our youth of today know the meaning of respect, really. They don't respect their elders. They don't respect their parents. They don't respect their teachers. They don't understand or know what respect is, and that was a big loss to me. And we were taught that from first grade up. You just there's just certain things you respect. Even like in church, if you, it's nothing, no saving grace in the communion table, but you didn't sit on it. You didn't touch it. You didn't. That was sacred, so to speak. We were taught, I don't know about other churches, we were taught, no, it's no saving grace in it, but you respect it for the reason it was
Right.
Did it exist?
Did it exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's to hold the Lord's Supper, so you don't mess with, you don't. And then that's one thing I see in our kids. They don't know how to respect. And not only others, some of them don't have respect for themselves.
And I'm wondering if some of that is because I can just imagine in school, when you were going to school, your whole community looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Absolutely.
teachers, you're from your neighborhoods. And I'm not saying that they always have to look like you, but there is a common ground, if you will, and there's a connection that they had, and at an early age, they kept depositing wisdom, depositing self-worth, depositing who you are. And I think many times people don't know who they are today.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the church,
Yeah.
because that's really where it starts, at home and in the church, before you even get to school.
Yeah.
So when you got to school, you had some values, and you knew right from wrong. You knew what you shouldn't do, and then the teachers just reinforced it.
Right.
And then the dress was so different. You know, certain ways you dress. I went to school. It had to be really cold for me to be able to wear pants. And then when it was really cold, I could wear pants, but I had my dress on over the pants. And so I was supposed to get out of the pants when I got to school. Supposed to. But I was wearing pants. I wore them all day. But, I mean, that was the things that everybody was taught, you know, that no one laughed at you because that's what you did. We were taught that, you know, girls didn't wear pants. That was for men, but, you know, the interpretation was literal. They didn't really go into the history and the background of it. But you were just taught, and it started at home.
Yeah.
The teaching started at home.
That just sounds like...
it was reinforced in school.
Was that part of your early experiences? Like, what a part of your early childhood shaped where you are today and the challenges for you to overcome? Because I've known you, it's only about, almost 40.
I don't know, you were a little young thing.
I was little. Okay, but I've watched you through the years, and there's just been this grace, there's this consistency, there's this presence you have to keep going. And
yeah, I just attribute it to my spiritual upbringing. And you know, you once you get to know the Lord, and then it's enforced in you, and you want to please God, number one. And so not that I was perfect when I said that, but that was a desire that was instilled in me. And my grandfather, he didn't do my other sisters that way, but every day I got home from school, I had a Bible lesson every day. And he would teach me. He would have me to read certain scriptures. He started off with things like Samson and Delilah and Joseph and the stories, the Bible stories. But every day. And I regret now that I didn't absorb it like I wish it would. I knew to be respectful to him, but I wasn't really taking it all in like I should have. But that I guess and I hate to say religious, my spiritual background.
Mm-hmm. But see, that was being deposited in you. You may not have really understood, but it was in you. It was being deposited. You know, the Bible talks about one plants, one waters, and God does the increase. He was planting seeds.
Well, that's all I can say. And then it was, you know, and in our era, it was enforced in school, what we learned at home. And the teachers were spiritual. And we sang, we opened with prayer.
At school?
At school.
Wow.
Yeah, and closed with prayer. And we had this song, the one I remembered Anderson was, If I Have Wounded Anyone Today. Lord, that was our closing song. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the first one. Lord, forgive. What's the name of it? If I have wounded anyone today, if I have caused someone to go astray.
I've heard that song.
Can't remember it all. But anyway, that was our closing song at Anderson High School every day.
Wow.
Joanne Jones sang that song. Would say she would be on the PA system and she would sing it. You lead us in it.
You know, I think too, it was reinforced. Part of that was, and I was not at LC Anderson. It was on the. I heard a lot because Mom was on. They went. Mm-hmm. My parents went.
Yeah, your aunt was in my class.
Mm-hmm. Which one? Ain't Ruthie?
No. Ruthie's a little older than me. Your mother's
Aunt Zephyr.
Zephyr Higgins.
And they. Then my father, when I was in elementary, bowled with my teachers. So they picked my teachers. And it wasn't, we're going to wait until you get home if you cut up. Mm-hmm. they had permission
Yep.
to do
Yeah.
what they needed to do for me. But I'd hate to see George Clark walking into that classroom. Because he would come up there, you know.
Yeah.
My teachers knew him, they knew each other, the community, and that's
Yeah,
the
see,
biggest
that's-
difference. They all knew each other, and that made that made a big impact.
Right.
Because you couldn't, number one, you couldn't get away with anything.
No.
But you're right, there was respect that we had and we learned.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of our challenge. Even today, we don't know the history. We don't spend time enough with ourselves first, but also with each other to sit down and just
And
have a conversation.
because we got all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because we,
Yeah, I think, and that's my opinion, as you say my opinion, it would be great to have even workshop class or whatever
Yes.
with the elders and let them teach what they know or talk to us or talk to the younger people about what happened and what
Yes.
occurred and what was learned at that time frame.
And see, and the reason why
The value of it.
because even when you were talking about standing at the counter, and that's the way it was. So we're in 2025, and there's things that are going in disarray, and some of our people don't know how to stand in the midst of.
All of those going on.
How do we still? Because I'm looking at your strength, and some may go, "Oh, well, you're weak because you didn't act." No, that's not true.
That's not the truth at all.
That's not the truth. And so sometimes, if you know your history, you understand you've been here before. We've been here before. This is just a test.
yeah.
This too shall pass. And then what do we do in the meantime?
It's not scripture, but that's one of my mottos,
Yeah.
I guess. This too shall
This
pass.
too shall pass. And when I think about St. John, coming back full circle, it's like, wow, there is a community right here in Austin, Texas, that has weathered storm after storm after storm. And it's because of individuals like you, your father, and others who've come through. And our charge is to carry that on and to continue on.
And to share it like the Bible tells you. Teach your children the history
Teachers, yes.
of what has happened. What is Deuteronomy 6 or something like that.
And then also in Revelation 12:11 that says, "And you overcome the enemy by the word of your testimony."
Yeah.
So that means speak out loud, whether it's one person or five people or 1,000 people. Keep telling your story. And look, we're almost out of time. See?
Yeah.
See how quickly that was?
Yeah, it was.
Beautiful. Listen,
And you were talking about the schools. When I was in high school, your dad was taking his teaching. What do you call it?
Certification?
When
teacher
he was-
certificate.
Yeah, he was student. He was student
Oh,
teacher.
student.
That's what we called him back then.
Wow.
Yeah, he was student teaching.
Oh, he was student teaching you.
Well, I wasn't in his class. He was student teaching for Miss Frazier, who was an English teacher.
Yeah, because he was an English teacher.
Yeah. And he was doing his student teaching.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Full circle moment. And a graduate of Houston, Tennessee.
And see, that's why we knew everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just
Beautiful.
common, and yeah, it really was.
Beautiful.
And it's
Thank you
wonderful
again,
to
Mama.
think about it now.
I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tune again next week. Lady Madelyn, faith-led, purpose-driven, voice-empowered, and we are out of here.